my party room that I was resigning as leader of the Australian Greens in this Parliament, and I intend to leave the Senate within a couple of months when a replacement has been found amongst a list of very good potential senators from Tasmania. The party room has elected Christine to the leadership unanimously, and we will be holding a further party room meeting at 2 o'clock to determine who will replace Christine as deputy leader of the party. I want to say at the outset that this decision comes from thinking about it over the months since the last election, but I was away at the Global Greens Conference in Senegal a fortnight ago, and with my good partner Paul, and we came to the conclusion that this was the right time. I'm of course very sad to go, but also happy to make way for the depth of talent that there is in the Green Parliamentary Party, both in the party room now and lined up to take future positions as this party grows into the future. I'm 67 and I'm aware that one should always make room for renewal in politics. A democracy is the healthier for the turnover of the depth of talent there is in its community. I'm enormously grateful to the 1.7 million Australians who voted Green at the last election. I remember well being in this Parliament as the only Green a decade ago. Here we are now 10. I'm proud of every one of them. In my books, they are all leadership material and they are taking a lead in politics. We Greens bring to this nation a vision that's not found in the other political parties. Christine was the instigator and a driving force for the carbon package, which, despite all the criticism we see in various quarters of the commentary, is a global breakthrough for protecting the interests of this planet, its economy, its employment, as we move into a century of climate change and many other problems besetting the human community. I love this nation, Australia. I love my home state island, and Paul and I will be heading off for a bushwalk in the next few days to the snowy tops of the Harts Range, quite near to home. I'm going to look forward to some photography and some writing. I've been invited to speak to a public forum at Stuttgart in Germany, where the Greens hold government, and I've already been invited by my colleagues from New Zealand across the ditch, or as they say, the ditch, to come over there any time. I'm very grateful for the feedback we have. I want to thank my family, my families, the Browns and the Thomases. I want to thank my wonderful staff, not least Ben Oaquist, who's up the back there, who's been a great friend, competent, and a fount of political common sense. In the 16 years I've been here enjoying serving the Greens and this country in the nation's Parliament. I want to thank my colleagues who are a brilliant lot. I leave the Greens in very safe and growing hands. Christine and I remember well when this isn't the first time we've done this. I left the Tasmanian Parliament and she took on the leadership, and there were all sorts of dismal proclamations about the end of the Greens. Well, look at us now. This party is set to grow. It knows where it's going. It has the environmental, social, economic and employment policies which are going to be the measure against which the other parties will, I think, be found wanting as we go to the next election and on beyond that. I thank all the staff who have been with me during these 16 years. I thank the wonderful public. There's been a conversion in those years from getting quite a bit of abuse around the place to widespread, thank God for the Greens, in the streets in Salamanca Place, in the Retro Coffee Shop, and all the other places that Greens frequent and that I go to, which are way beyond the green pale in modern Australia. This is a brilliant country. It's the wealthiest country per capita on the face of the planet. We're one of the 4 oldest continuous democracies, and we have a big role to play in both looking after ourselves, making sure our grandkids have got the beautiful heritage, and that's not least our Indigenous First Australians, got the heritage that we have now to pass on to them intact, and all the better for us being here. But we as a middle order nation have a role to play in a world which seeks peace, democracy, a fair go for everyone. And I'll be working, well, let me say this, I will be a Green until the day I die, if not for a long time after that. And I'm well aware of the size of this decision, but it is, I think it's the best wisdom I can muster to have resigned this morning. I thank my colleagues who in the main were taken by surprise. I had to talk with Christine about this since I came back from Africa, and I'll now hand across to the new leader of the Australian Greens, Christie Milne.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Bob, and I'd like to begin by paying tribute to Bob as an absolutely remarkable and outstanding leader of this nation. When you reflect on his career, and I've worked with him for a quarter of a century now, he has contributed enormously to the thinking of this country, and in particular to highlighting the compassion that exists in this country and confronting people with the reality of the need for a more caring, inclusive society. And it's going to be a great legacy for him, and it's going to take all of us in the Greens, both here in the Parliament and our membership around the country, to now build on that great legacy that Bob has left. But we will do that. We are a great party. We are the third party in Australian politics. We've got state members right around the country. We have a membership base right across the nation. And today will be the opportunity for all of those people to recommit to the Greens and essentially to go out there and commit to the opportunity that is now provided to the Greens to step up, to talk about the kind of Australia we want in this century. Climate change is accelerating and the mining boom will end. What sort of country do we want in this century? How are we going to respond to the global challenge of climate change? How are we going to respond to being, for the first time in Australia's history, in the right place at the right time in our sense of our geographical placement in the world? We are currently seeing the biggest assault on the environment in Australia we've seen in a very long time, not just because of climate change, but because of the rapaciousness of the mining industry and the willingness of both the Liberal and Labor parties in Australia to cave in to the few who want to push out of the way every environmental protection that communities have fought for a long, long time. If ever the Greens were needed in Australian politics, in public life, in redefining the debate in Australia, it's now. And I'm really looking forward to being able to lead the party in that direction. We need an economic narrative that joins up the dots, that says we need environmental outcomes to sustain our economic outcomes, to actually support the kind of society and community that we want. And that is the conversation that the Greens will be leading. I intend to go out to rural and regional Australia to have this discussion, because rural and regional Australia has a critical role to play in this century, particularly in terms of food security in a global context, particularly in terms of renewable energy and energy efficiency. Rural communities will also be the backbone of environmental sustainability and protection, and I'm going out there as a country person to say to other country people, it's time that the Greens and country and rural and regional Australia really work together. But I also want to have a much more vigorous dialogue with progressive business in Australia, because progressive business knows that we have to address the climate challenge, but they also see incredible opportunities in addressing that climate challenge. Only yesterday I met with a company in Melbourne, Silver Springs, who are doing fantastic work out there in Indigenous communities in particular, but looking at ways in which the smart grid, in which the NBN, the whole way in which we can transform lives in rural and regional Australia to add jobs, opportunities in those communities. So I'm really looking forward to that, and to pursuing, of course, the readiness of this country to respond to the greatest challenge of this century, and that is climate change. So I really want to thank my colleagues for the trust that they have afforded to me today. I intend to work very hard to make them proud of the Green team in the Parliament, and to go out to our membership across the country and say, this is the opportunity to build on Bob Brown's legacy. This is our opportunity to talk to Australia, to join up the dots, to have a conversation about quality of life, equality of opportunity, and to actually address the fact that we are a society, not just an economy. That is the Greens' challenge, and I'm really looking forward to taking it on. Thank you. We'll just...
We'll start with one here.
With the Gillard government, will there be any changes to that?
No, the agreement was Christie Milne signed that agreement, as I did. So, same as before. The one I've informed the Prime Minister's in COAG, of course, but I've made sure that she's been informed of this change. I've also informed Her Excellency, the Governor-General, who's in the Philippines, and I've informed the office of Tony Abbott, the Leader of the Opposition, as well as my colleagues in Tasmania. The arrangement with the government is stays the same.
Senator Brown,
I'll go this way, then that way.
in the saddle. He's still in the saddle. Why aren't you?
Well, look, 12 or 18 months ago, I did cite Rupert Murdoch as being a role model, and that I'd stay in until 2024 to catch up with his age. But I've watched his progress in the last 18 months, and I've decided I changed my mind. And so here I am.
Senator Brown, can you explain why you're leaving before the July 1 introduction of the Clean Energy Scheme and the carbon price? Did you at all think about staying for that big event to take place, and why you've decided to go for that?
Well, two reasons for that. There is the political imperative of nominating again in Tasmania for the next 6 years in the Senate, and that decision has to be made before July. And so I wanted to make it clear that I won't be renominating in Tasmania, and to give the Tasmanian Party the opportunity to select a replacement for me, as well as a second person to stand on that ticket at next year's election. When it comes to July the 1st, I'm going to enjoy that as a citizen, but Christie Milne will be leading this party, and nobody in this nation is more, can have greater accolades for moving Australia into a reasonable direction to tackle climate change than Christine. So she'll be there with our colleagues. Adam Bant, you'll know, was on that committee all the way through, the member for Melbourne. He can also take kudos from that, as our colleagues in the Labor Party will. It's a monumental breakthrough for this nation and for the world.